Good morning, everyone. Been a few weeks, but we are here with a cup of coffee, some lighters that need to be refueled, and we can discuss whatever you guys like today. Excuse me. All these lighters have been sitting there since last, I believe, Wednesday when I scheduled the live stream and had to cancel it at the last minute because of some family things that came up. So they're pretty much all going to need some fuel today. If you're present with us here in the live stream, in the chat, go ahead and give me a holler, say hello, let me know that the sound is working. You know that everything is on the up and up. As I said, I didn't schedule a stream last week, but then couldn't follow through with it. And I think it's been about 3 weeks now since we've done one. Had some illness issues in my family a few weeks ago, and then the last couple weeks just babysitting my granddaughter. Had a couple of malfunctions of the camera lately when I was trying to make a video just to publish with our regular weekday videos. One of them was rewicking this one. So unfortunately I won't be able to show you that. At least not at this time. Still needs some help with the spark. Everything moves properly. It's just kind of a weak spark, so that'll probably be a project that we embark upon here soon. It's one of my favorite lighters, one of my favorite mechanisms, this Ronson lighter case. Very similar, possibly even identical, I'm not sure, to the Ronson Debonair. Oobla doobla, Dylan. Well, I was just explaining that I have been absent while I was babysitting my granddaughter, which is going to happen some more this summer. So we may not lock in on Tuesdays, at least for this summer. I may just try to do the stream whatever day of the week I can, because I know that there's going to be more of that babysitting duty as the summer goes on. I know that there will be some couple days next week, and then in July there's a pretty good amount of time where I could be doing it. So, but I've been around. I try to answer the comments underneath the videos as they show up. Been publishing to the website, not every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but that's the publishing. No, it's not cotton bacon. That's just the organic cotton coil. I don't know what the difference is between that organic cotton coil and the cotton bacon, but that you get a big roll of that organic cotton coil for, I can't remember last time I bought it. It's been a while now, but it seems like it's about $5. I have a link to that over on my Helpful Lighter related links page. That's the remnants of the wick and wadding that came out of the light a case, and then the remainder of that cotton coil that I used to re-wad it. But I always thin this down, usually into about 4, divide it by about 4 to get it thin enough to where it'll fit down through your fill screw easy enough. How are you doing, Dylan? The world treating you okay? How's the weather in New York? So I would put this lighter case right now at about where most people, when they get a Ronson lighter working again, seems like, I don't know, it's about a 2 out of every 5, or yeah, probably about a 2 out of every 5 strike success right now. That's obviously not good enough. Glad to hear the weather is pleasant up there. I saw that ZF77 was on, was that last night or the night before? He did a live stream, I don't know, here one night this week. I wasn't able to, I don't even think I was able to peek in on that one. Oh yeah, by the time I saw the notification and got over there, it was already over and had been erased. So he's still doing customs in honor of T-Man. I am having my first cup of coffee in several weeks. It's kind of crazy because when I was working over here at the place in Mesta Park full time, I was drinking 3 or 4 cups of decaf a day. And now I'm down to pretty much just drinking coffee when I do a live stream. This round Omskalite lighter, which kind of reminds me of the Rondolite or the Regent Junior. Can't remember which one it was that I had. Kind of difficult to determine the exact model on some of those old Ronsons, unless you happen to have the Urban Cummings book, which I think would help out considerably. At the moment, I don't have the money to invest in such a resource, so I do the best I can with Toledo Bend VCL site. That's Frank Dutton's site, hosted out of Louisiana somewhere. Don't think he's really active on that site anymore, but there's a ton of great information there where you can pretty much decipher which model is which with, I don't know, without too many errors. Usually about the time that I identify the model, and when it's one of the more scarce or not as readily seen as some of the others, then somebody tells me, no, that's not it. So I'll get corrected one way or the other and get it identified correctly most of the time eventually. But as I've said in the past, I think I wrote this in an article here a few weeks ago, I'm not primarily the kind of person who tracks down all those minute details, or that's not really what floats my boat. What gets me excited is getting these things working again. So I'm more concerned with getting the mechanisms working than chasing down all the old information. Now, when I come across when I come across the old information, then I try to document it as best I can so that it's available to anyone who comes after and is scrolling through over there on dependableflame.com or on the Dependable Flame YouTube channel, whichever it might be. This lighter is definitely still got some moisture on the file wheel. I think that's what is inhibiting our spark right at the moment. Maybe some vapor lock as well. But once that fuel settles down, it's a pretty good lighter. It's definitely one that you can use, one that I have been using here and there, and probably eventually will find its way over onto our current eBay listings page when we do list it. Don't have very many lighters listed right at the moment. I think it's down to about 13. Have several that I need to list for the charity purposes. Hello, Azrael. Glad that you have joined us today. I missed you the last couple times that we have had a stream. So very thankful that you are here today, my friend. That lighter is an Omska light made in Japan. So it's basically a Ronson type clone and very closely, or very likely a clone of the Rondolite, or like I said, Regent Junior. There are several different models of round Ronsons, and I may not have the exact one that this one is most similar to, but something akin to that anyway. Has some scratches, scuffs, all that good stuff, but when the vapor lock simmers down a little, it's a good working lighter. What have you been up to, Azrael? If you've been missing my streams, I didn't have a stream for the past few weeks. I was explaining earlier that I've had some sickness in the family. I may have even been sick one of those weeks. I can't remember. But most of the time it's just been babysitting, taking care of my granddaughter. But hopefully everything is well with you, Azrael. Hopefully you just had something like work come up that usually inhibits Dylan from being able to be with us full time. Hopefully it wasn't anything serious that kept you away from us. I did finally order the soft yellow butane insert from Zippo. Hoping that arrives today. I can do a review on that. I still need to do the regular show and tell video on this lighter, which when I struck it a minute ago, it acted like it might light up, which is kind of shocking because I fueled this lighter, I know, at least 2 weeks ago. I think it was more like 3. Double-sided advertiser that is used, shows some scuffs, scratches, that kind of thing, but it's a really cool lighter. You'll see in our eBay store eventually as well. Still got our 2 Cygnus table lighters. Well, the flame on that one is a little weak. It does still hold fuel, and you could light something off of it. And same as that one. Fuel a little bit weak at this point, which it's been well over a month since we fueled that up. I don't remember exactly. And I think I left this lighter there the last time that I fueled all these up here on the live stream and haven't used it since. It's definitely my favorite of all my EDC lighters. The all-around leaf design. Yeah, no sweat, man. I'm not trying to pry or get you to write a book about where you've been or anything like that. Just hope everything's cool, and hopefully you can join us here throughout the summer. I was telling Dylan a while ago, I think what I may try to do is, since it may be kind of hit and miss, and I know for a fact that I'm going to be busy with some babysitting this summer, that rather than locking the live stream in on Tuesdays, we may just go ahead and leave it open, try to do it once a week, but maybe kind of spur of the moment as to what day that occurs. Are you guys, Dylan and Azrael, is one day better for you than others? What do you mean? Yeah, I left a notification over on the Discord this morning. I don't know, maybe 45 minutes ago, about this stream. Maybe I need you to... The Zippo channel, well, is it the Zippo channel or Zippo Mafia? That's what mine says. Zippo Mafia, Zippo Mafia, Zippo YouTube Community Discord. And I can see there where the professor responded to my notification telling us that he wouldn't be here today. So we will definitely miss him and hopefully catch him next time. But where on here you said I said some stuff in the Zippo channel. This is the part of Discord that confuses me, Azrael, because there's so many tabs over here on the left. I don't necessarily know what is what or where or what belongs where. Anyway, I know how to read this main feed here. I'm trying to remember. I've been, oh, here we go. Yeah, so that shows me that you are online, but that's not any. Oh, there we go. Maybe there. There's the comments where we were talking back in March, and I think that was the day of a stream. Anyway, if I can understand this Discord any better, Azrael, let me know. But I don't do anything over there except... you talking about this Zippos and Flame Makers? Okay, so maybe I need to start checking these other tabs. Yeah, I see your conversation there with Terry and... yeah, maybe I just need to get on here and try to use it a little bit more. Maybe I can get it figured out. We got an ambulance or fire truck out on 23rd Street, it sounds like. Hello, Joseph. Glad that you have joined us. Are you speaking about the Discord chat? I'm not sure exactly. I believe that's open to the public. I can't remember. Dylan may have created that. Also, Zippo Daily Fix may have had something to do with it. I think Zippo Daily Fix was the first person that said something to me, but then I never got a link from him. And I don't remember who ended up sending me the link. And yeah, let me see about that, Joseph. About how to, I don't know if I can send a link to the Discord or not. Azrael seems to have a better understanding of the Discord than I do, so maybe he can tell us, or maybe he can send a link. I don't see it here. So, do you remember, Dylan, who created it? I thought you had created the Discord. Was that Jeremy? Hello, Ron. Glad that you have joined us. I assume that you are a vintage lighter or Zippo lighter enthusiast of some kind or another. That's what we do here. We fix them. We show them off. We use them. I specialize in petrol lighters. I use butane lighters, just like this Ronson Jet Light that I was just using, but I don't repair them. So most of the time, I try to leave just a nice message saying I don't repair butane lighters when people ask about that, but those are also the last things I'm going to get to. I'm going to answer the petrol lighter questions before I get around to saying no to the butane lighters, because I've pretty much said on the website, on the info on the YouTube channel, I've pretty much made it known that I don't repair butane lighters. If people just read far enough, you know, petrol lighters are very rudimentary, elementary, basic method of making fire. There's a lot of forgiveness. There's some adjustments that can be made, but things aren't real critical, where with a butane lighter, you know, you got O-rings that are failing left and right. You've got adjustments. You've got piezo ignitions that the outflow of gas seems too strong to ignite. Yeah, I saw the conversation you were having over there with, just in the minute that I was looking at it, with Terry and whoever else about the 41. You know, I've got two of the brushed chrome 41 replicas, and I guess I don't have either one of them here with me. I've got two 41 replicas. I've got two of the vintage look. I don't have a 35 replica. And the only 41 replicas that I have are the brushed chrome. But that black crackle is definitely on my list as well. There's a lot of them, especially with some of the graphics and stuff that they've been embellished with, the different 41 replicas, but the black crackle I would like to have, just because I've owned 3 of the authentic 1940s black crackles, and I've even got a video way back, one of the oldest videos we published, where we're using a World War II era black crackle. So I have used an authentic black crackle, but I, at this point, have not used a black crackle replica. Hello, Shaggy Rifleman. Glad that you have joined us. You say you're a rookie, Ron? There's nothing wrong with that, man. You know, we all start somewhere in the hobby, and there's room enough for however many want to join us. There are as many themes and brands and mechanisms and different kinds of lighters to collect, different embellishments or metals that they've been made out of. There's plenty of room in this hobby for everybody. So come on in, man. We would love for you to join the conversation. Glad you're with us again, Shaggy Rifleman. I talked about you in a previous live stream because that week that none of the regulars showed up until really, really late. You were one of the first people that jumped in, and I couldn't remember your name when I was trying to pass that on to whoever I was discussing it with the next week. But glad that you're with us again, my friend. What do you mean by delete the spaces, Shaggy? Yeah, I think I can fix that, Azrael. I thought I could. There we go. I did that wrong. Trying to add a trying to add you as a moderator here, Azrael. Thought I'd already done it. Okay, there we go. See if you can share the link that way. If you have a link, maybe you were just giving me some information there. You talking about the chat message, Ron? Deleting spaces? Or Shaggy, I'm sorry. Yeah, the replicas aren't, they're not real expensive. The brushed chrome, you can get it for, I don't know, $21, $22 typically on eBay or Amazon. I don't know, I think the black crackle's about the same. Maybe some of the other finishes are a little bit more. So they make an armor replica? I didn't know that they made the armor, 41 replica in armor. Yeah, that's one thing, Shaggy. You got to keep some lighter fluid around if you're going to mess with old lighters. And I've always got a can or two. There's some in both of those. That one I must have just had up here to when we were talking about the different sizes and fuels that were available. There we go. Thank you, Azrael. I really appreciate that. I know that there's been about the same number of people in that group for the entire time that I've been in it, because it seemed like when I first started, when I would go over there and leave a link to the live stream or whatever, it would tell me that I would send that out to everyone, tag everyone in it. It would tell me that I was sending that to 138 people, and I think now it says like 134 or 135. Do they make any replica armor, Dylan? I'm kind of ignorant about the newer stuff, but you guys know that. Yeah, I kind of had to break myself of that though, Azrael, because my old lady wasn't too appreciative about me constantly sitting there lighting up lighters. So I kind of had to break that, excuse me, that fidget spinner habit. But it is, you got one in your hand, you definitely want to spin that wheel, snuff it. That constant activity in your hand. Everyone is still suffering from a little bit of vapor lock. Are you talking about a replica high polished chrome? I don't know if I've seen that one, Shaggy. Or are you just talking about a high polished chrome, period? I've had some high polished chrome Zippos. I've got a couple of the new ones that are part of my collection. One of the ones commemorating the National Lighter Museum in Guthrie, Oklahoma was a high polished chrome. My Bob Dylan tour merchandise Zippo is high polished chrome. Can't remember other than that. I've had a lot of high polished chrome, nice ones over the years though. And it is a nice finish. It looks really, really good on new lighters. The problem is it shows scratches so easy. VP and M naphtha, Joseph says, will work too. Is that a? I've seen naphtha in the Walmart over there in the hardware section, kind of. Maybe some alternative fuels. Is that what you're talking about? Is the VP and M? Is that a brand, Joseph? Hello, Hornsby. Glad that you've joined us today. That's very nice of you to say. I try. I certainly. I don't know that I've ever. I know that I haven't ever made a perfect video. I get complaints. I just got a complaint on a 3-year-old video last week because somebody was complaining that they couldn't hear me, and I'm really sorry about that. But my priority at the time was showing what to do, and you know, if I didn't have a microphone available, I just did the best I could. So, but I try to make videos that will just show people, really, for most of these projects regarding getting an old petrol lighter, back up and in good working order. Most of those projects, if you're the kind of person that mows your lawn or changes your oil or um, really, if you can manage to brush your teeth in the morning, then you can probably complete most of these projects. They're not that difficult. So that's kind of, um, and I know that there was a obviously a whole industry sprung up around petrol lighters and repairing them. That's how the 1954 lighter repair manual came into existence. Is it came when they would sell the replacement parts. I think it was a third party company that manufactured these replacement parts, but they, depending on how many parts you ordered, they would give you that book for free, the repair manual. Um, or maybe you could buy it if you were just buying a little bit, weren't purchasing that many parts. Anyway, but for me, I think of it like automobiles. You know, my first automobile was a car that my dad and I bought, a 1970 Mustang Fastback that we bought in, I think, about 1985 or 1986. It didn't have a motor or transmission in it. It was just a body. It had seats in it, but they needed uh, replaced. They needed recovered. So I had somebody do that. But as far as the mechanical stuff, the actual driving of the car, and all the body work, my dad and I did all that. And with my old man, it wasn't just the car; it was anything that broke. He was trying to fix. Um, Definitely before he was going to pay somebody to fix it. And I just don't really remember that being a thing in his mind. Paying somebody to fix things, that was kind of foreign. The first option was always to fix it yourself. So that's kind of my approach to old petrol lighters. Like I say, if it's not that difficult, there's a few things you need to understand about how one works to be able to decipher whatever problems you might be having with one, and then the clearing of flint tubes or disassembling of mechanisms. And there are definitely some that are more difficult than others, and there's some that I haven't even done. It's not like I've handled every single mechanism out there. I think I've done most of the major ones, and I would like to do them all eventually. But with just a few exceptions, most of them you can disassemble and get them back together without too much effort. And like I said, that's kind of like a shade tree mechanic type approach to vintage petrol lighters. And it's a fun hobby. And this right here is one of the funnest the funnest things about it to me. Um, the live streams like this, ZF77 streams, um, and then the Facebook lighter groups. There's a lot of camaraderie going around in those Facebook lighter groups. There's some people in there trying to rip people off and stuff. There's bad things too, but um, for the most part, those people get dealt with pretty quick, get identified and recognized, and people get the word out. But it's the vintage cigarette lighter hobby in general is a really friendly place to be. And you know, I've actually made friends with several people here over the last few years that I still have never met in person. But the shared interest of vintage petrol lighters was enough to create a friendship 100% online. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Somebody messaged me last week, Azrael, and was asking about um, my Zippo here is still suffering from vapor lock too. That took about 4 or 5 strikes. But somebody was asking me about the yellow flame butane insert and whether it would fit the vintage look, and I believe it will. And they might even fit the. That's what I'm not sure about. Are the 41 replica insert, is that the same size as a regular insert? I know that the 35 replica has a different size insert, so regular inserts won't work in there. But I think maybe the 41s, even though they look different, I think they will work interchangeably with the other regular inserts. Okay, Azrael. So when you were talking about those 41 Armor, that's a Chinese knockoff. Does it say, is it branded Zippo on the bottom? Is it that much of a knockoff, or is it something like Star or um, Zorro? Is that the no? What's that other brand that Zippo Fanatic 77 talks about? I know he's used some of their inserts. Is that Zorro? Excuse me. Trying to catch up on the chat here, guys. Hopefully everybody took advantage of that Discord link that wanted to. So where do you? I'm not interested in buying them or anything. I'm just curious because I don't really remember seeing them. Um, where do you see these Chinese origin Zippo replicas, Azrael? Is that like Alibaba or something, or what's that other web? DH Gate or something like that? Or do you see those on just like on eBay or Facebook Market or other major like? Is that something unique to Indonesia? Something that just doesn't make it to the States, maybe? But it sounds like you're talking about fraudulent. They're actually not authentic, right? Okay, yeah, Shaggy, the high polished chrome. Now, you saying that really made me think. I think a high polished chrome 41 replica would be really cool, and I don't think they make that. But that would be a really cool lighter. But yeah, the high polished chrome in general, um, they're definitely. I'm a huge fan of them as far as some of the graphics, like with the Bob Dylan lighter. I think it looks way better on that slick background of the high polished chrome than it would on a brush chrome. But on a lighter that you're going to carry, man, they really get marred up quickly. It's basically the same finish that is around the bottom, top, and spine on all the lighters. Unless, of course, it's some other color or something like that. But the chrome, just the difference between the brush and the polish. So, 70% cheaper. I may, I may have to skip over some of these because I'm going to start asking you the same questions again. Okay, so they have the Zippo logo and dating system too. You wouldn't recognize it as fake unless you know the price. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested to know about that too. Where are you buying these at though? Maybe you're going to explain that to me down there below that I just haven't gotten there yet. Shopee, is that like DH Gate or something? Or Alibaba? Yeah, but you know, one of the issues, Azrael, is some of those Zippos, maybe because of the country, maybe if they're like limited to Asia, then maybe I don't know what the policy is there. Um, but I don't believe if Zippo encounters a fake Zippo that you return or that somebody returns to be repaired, I don't think they're going to repair it or even just send it back to you. I think they confiscate it as contraband. Yeah, okay. Dylan says it was Zorro. It's amazing to me. Those lighters are a little bit more affordable than some of the others, but some of those other Asian-made knockoffs, you know, you got the one. There's like a somebody's made a Ronson. I mean, it looks like a Ronson Standard, but it sells for like 50 or 60 bucks. It's just kind of crazy that some of those knockoff, inauthentic, Asian manufactured products have such high price tags. Okay, got you. That makes sense then. If it's just kind of a local deal there. In Indonesia or Asia. All right, Dylan, glad you dropped in, man. Appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Hope your work day goes smooth enough. John, when you said some of the prices are cheaper than Zippo USA, are you talking about the Shopee that Azrael mentioned? And where are you located, John? I'm not familiar with that Shopee. Is that something like can't think of it. Yeah, this Majestic Views wouldn't be winning any awards for lighting right now. Probably just still a little vapor lock would be my guess. Taiwan. Okay. And are you familiar with these same Zippos that Azriel's talking about? That makes sense. It's like a jurisdiction that they can't enforce because they don't have a presence there. You would think in this day and age there would be more of that, those kind of things getting out into the other markets, though, to where you end up seeing them on eBay, and or maybe there are a bunch of Zippo collectors out there with these inauthentic. Even though Azrael said we wouldn't be able to tell the difference. No, man, but there's plenty of people that wouldn't know. I would think wouldn't know they were fake, especially somebody who used it and then it broke. Now they need it repaired so they can use it again. Okay, like AliExpress, yeah, that makes sense. Limited to Asia. Gotcha. Yeah, that's probably what it is. If they don't have any presence there in that country, then maybe it's kind of a free for all. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Cost is a big effect or a big factor for me in most of what I buy. Um, I see lighters all the time that um, if I had, uh, you know, a huge budget for buying lighters or money was no object. I mean, I encounter lighters all the time that I would buy. Um, and there's people that will pay big time for. I can't do it. I haven't seen a lighter yet that I was willing to pay a premium for. That's just me. I know there's different. A lot of people probably think I waste a lot of time in the time that I spend looking, especially online. But that's how I'm able to buy is find things unidentified where it's hard for the average person to quick enough determine a value or even see what's being offered, maybe because the pictures are so bad or things like that. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to, certain things. It's hard to put a place of value on, but when you get a pretty good idea, like most of those Cygnus lighters that I have in my personal collection, the advertising models, uh, the different, some of the colors I've never seen another one of that example. Another color I haven't seen a price for one. Some of them I have, but very seldom sold individually. Um, But I could say for the most part, every one of those lighters would eventually sell for at least at least the $40 to $45 neighborhood, and some of them considerably more than that. But um, I'm just not willing to pay that much for them. So for me, I think the most I've paid for any one Cygnus, and that was in a lot with several other lighters that I probably ended up making my money back plus. I don't remember specifically, but that's the way it usually works out. But the most I paid for any one was somewhere in the neighborhood of $25. And like I said, even then, I probably made that money back on the other lighters in the lot. So when a really attractive Cygnus, which man, I'd love to own every one that I see, but when one comes up for auction on eBay and it starts at 99 cents, they give you hope, but then by the end of the week when that lighter ends up selling, these days it doesn't seem like, even in auctions, uh, those lighters go for $40, 35 minimum, and that would probably be one with some damage or maybe some paint missing, or in good condition, they in mint condition or close or there and about, what you might just call minor scuffs, scratches, not even any dings. They're gonna bring 35 or $40. So in my mind, it's, I don't know, most of the time I'm not willing to pay. I can't remember being willing to pay over $30. I've missed out on a few that I was willing to go that high on, but anyway, I don't even remember now what my point was. So is this Taiwanese Zippo company? Is that the same company that Azrael is talking about? Oh, that was my point, Azrael. Looking back at your comment right before John's or Joseph's, was you talking about being able to get into more lighters for less money? I definitely understand that because money goes into every lighter. the My ability to make money off that lighter, the return on that lighter, whatever, has gone into every lighter that I've ever been able to show. Uh, there's a few that I did repairs on early on that I made videos on, so those were, just doing somebody a favor. And I can't remember. Well, obviously, recently we've had several videos. The lighter the Cygnus that Bill Calkins sent me with the bear medallion on it, and then all the stuff that Gavin Lannon has sent me. So not everything has cost factored in, at least from my part, but the vast majority of them, I've said I've never owned a mint condition lighter, and that's not true because I've got a couple in my collection and I've had some others, but I'm just the vast majority of my dealings with old petrol lighters or cigarette lighters in general has been buying them in very large groups, sometimes at shockingly low prices, and being able to get them back working and then market it again individually. And if I can buy them at the right prices, then I can make good money off of them that way. It's getting harder and harder to do though, both because of the money that I have available and the eyes that are on vintage cigarette lighter auctions these days. There's not much that slips between the cracks. A few years ago, it definitely seemed like some stuff slipped between the cracks. I will check out the Discord when we get off of here, Azrael. Shaggy, that's funny you say that. Our friend Gnarly News, who he hasn't been with us in several, well, maybe several months now, actually. Um, but he claims to have a stainless steel Zippo. I can't remember the company advertising that's on it. It's from the late 40s or early 50s. Seems, yeah, 'cause it seems like one of them is a 3-barrel. I can't remember whether that was the stainless steel one or not. Not only that, but he told me a story about Ted Ballard at the National Lighter Museum repairing, I think, the stainless steel Zippo hinge for him. So, anyway, I had forgotten about that and got distracted. But I need to ask some of the experts in the Zippo lighter groups about that. And whether, I've heard everybody talk about the Steelies, the steel Zippos. That was from like 51 to 53, where they were chrome plated steel. And a lot of times you'll see those cases corrode and rust and um, come through the other side of the chrome. But this, he claimed, was a whole different thing. This was a higher grade of steel. And I can't remember whether he had a reason for why they were even made in that metal, but he had 3 of the lighters advertising that, um, whatever. I can't remember now what it was, but it wasn't even like a metal company. I thought maybe it was a stainless steel company, and that's why they had it made that way. But like the Kennecott copper. Anyway, um, yeah, I've heard of a stainless steel Zippo before, but I haven't verified that, and I don't know how you. I guess maybe a jeweler could test that for you. I don't know. Asriel just says just bought the fake 41 replica. Yeah, man, let us know. Um, do you make videos, Azrael? You should make some videos of these lighters, man. Post some videos, share with us. So, Joseph, and that's buying it from the Zippo Taiwan, which is not a legitimate Zippo, or was that Zippo Indonesia that was not legitimate? $9 for the 41 replica, huh? Yeah. Well, you should post some videos on YouTube, Azrael. We need more lighter content out here. Well, that's funny because Azrael said like 70% of the authentic one, Joseph. But when he said $9, because the I think it's about $22 now for a 41 replica. So yeah, that's less than 50%. Not bad at all. Yeah, I know for some people though, that's I'm curious about it, because for one, I'm a lighter collector in general, but you know, I do have a few Zippos, and I would like the ability that if I come into contact with a fake one, that I'll recognize it. So that is kind of troublesome that you say they look so good, but I'm just kind of curious as to what the how that occurs with a company that is so aggressive, supposedly with their litigation and protecting their brand, how they would allow that to occur like that. And if they can even tell the difference. Because if they can't, then yeah, that would be a real problem. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before when I was at church, the preacher had mentioned that Billy Graham once said that he believed that probably 70% of the people who called themselves Christians, people who were in his audience, hearing his sermons, um, that 70% of them that called themselves Christians were not authentically saved, that they were either self-deceived or had um, become distracted by the cares of life or whatever. But that makes me wonder about what the percentages of uh, you looked at all the collections out there, what the likelihood is and how many could be fake. Are there that many fake Zippos out there in people's collections? Because typically when you fake something, it's higher end merchandise. You're not usually going to fake, you know, the base cheapest. People say that it wouldn't be profitable to fake Slims. I don't know if that's true because there's some Slims that are worth a lot of money. But in general, yeah, I think people tend to, if they're going to go through the effort, then they're going to not going to try to get the price of the base model out of their fake. They're going to go for something that's going to bring a little bit extra. Okay, so the Taiwan Zippo that you're talking about is legitimate. Okay. Somehow I got a little bit confused there in um, in the company that you and Azrael were talking about. Yeah, Shaggy, it makes me think of a guy named Paul Washer, and I watched one of his videos because a friend pointed out to me a couple weeks ago, and I pointed out here on the YouTube stream a few weeks ago. If you go to flippertools.com, the guy said he wasn't going to be able to keep up with that site anymore. And it was a really great site. Helped me so much over the last few years, embedding my YouTube videos into my eBay articles or eBay listings. Anyway, um, he left his farewell to everybody over on that site saying he wasn't going to be able to keep it up anymore. He posted his testimony, which is, follows a lot in line with my own experience. And like I said, this sermon that I watched a while back from this guy named Paul Washer But yeah, if there hasn't been a change in your life, then you probably ought to question whether you really met Jesus. Um, because it's, you know, claiming to be saved and then just living like that has no consequence on your life. Um, that's not what the gospel is. The gospel is believing um, in Jesus and that he was raised from the dead, but also following him as Lord of your life. And, you know, the ways that the gospel is or has been presented at times, especially in our American culture, I definitely am in, you know, it makes me afraid for a lot of people. Um, it makes me afraid for a lot of my own experience because, you know, I definitely wasn't walking the right path for a long time there. Even though I may have believed, uh, you know, anyway, um, you know, the Bible says that by our fruits they'll know us. And if we are authentically redeemed, then we are going to exhibit the fruits of the Holy Spirit. Cool, Azrael. I look forward to checking that out. I'm really curious. Like I said, not that I'm not going to condone buying fake Zippos or anything like that, but I am curious about how well these are made and they really do look exactly like the real thing. And whether you feel like they look, do they feel like they still feel? You believe that even by the feel of them, you wouldn't know they were fake with them in your hand? Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff, Azrael. Some of those 41 replicas with box designs on them or guaranteed paperwork, stuff like that. I don't know if I've specifically seen that guaranteed design, but I've seen similar ones, if not. And Shaggy, I'm sorry if I've asked you this before, um, but where are you located? Are you in the States? Are you talking about the one with the star on it, Azrael? Is that the one you just bought? Oh, yeah. See if I can follow this link. Not on that iPad, I can't. That's my oldest iPad that I'm monitoring the stream from, and it's been around a while. It is out of space. It's offloading apps left and right. All right, Shaggy, thanks for joining us, man. Hopefully you can continue to join us in the future. Nobody threw out a day that might be better than another earlier when I asked. And I'll still keep trying to do it on Tuesday if I can, but I have a feeling throughout the summer it would probably be better just to each week decide which day might be better. But thank you for joining us, Shaggy. We'll see you next time. And how much is that one, Azrael? I've seen a lot of those people showing that one off in the Facebook lighter groups. Does that have something to do with is that movie with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves? Yeah, that seems pretty cheap. It's a different movie. I can't even remember the name of the movie I was trying to. Something about had the devil. The devil something. They're lawyers. He's a lawyer in Louisiana and he moves to New York. Yeah, The Devil's Advocate. That's a different movie though. That's not. That doesn't have anything to do with that lighter. Oh, the Constantine movie. Okay. Yeah, I thought they were related somehow. It tells you how much I know. Has anybody checked out East Wa Dune Flums? Either Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok posts lately? I've been really busy the last few weeks, and I don't think I've checked his videos out in at least a week or so. I assume he's still posting, especially over on TikTok. But if you haven't gone over him and followed him on those other social media or other platforms, make sure you do. And I really think you should make some videos about these lighters you're buying, Azrael, and post them on YouTube. I think we could all benefit. And like I said, we need even more lighter content. There's not near enough. Lighters, tobacciana, other useful mechanisms, that sort of stuff. Huh, interesting. This is maybe my oldest actual amongst my rotation of everyday carry lighters. So I think a 1940s, maybe early 50s, but I think 1940s. Storm King, Park Sherman, Springfield, Illinois. The insert is really heavy feeling. Of course, it's full of fuel right now. And you see that how it's not leaking fuel, but it's full. That's that's when you know you've got it filled properly, or at least very close to it. But the case is really light, not all that thick, and obviously aluminum construction. It's very lightweight. These are good lighters, and you can get them cheap. The Storm King and all the other Park lighters are riveted hinges. Now, that seemed to have come kind of out of the blue there, Azrael. But yes, I am. I am an actual grandpa. Got three grandkids and another one on the way. And definitely one of the greatest blessings in life. You know, having a proper valuation of yourself in Jesus Christ, you understand that God doesn't owe me anything, that I stand condemned before Him. And by His grace in Jesus Christ, you know, we have hope not only in this life, but in the life to come. But there are also those blessings and glimpses of heaven that we get right here and now. And that's really the only way that I can describe grandchildren. And my kids were great too. That's not saying that kids aren't great. It's just, I don't know. Being a grandparent is a lot less stressful than being a parent. Yeah, you know, Joseph, I'm similarly, my paternal grandfather I never met. And I would have liked to have had that opportunity. Um, and then on my mother's side, I had uh, two grandfathers. My grandfather and then basically my step grandfather, who, you know, as far as I was concerned, I mean, I was in, I don't know, maybe a teenager and adult before I ever knew, you know, or put together the details of why he was my step grandfather. These were just my grandparents, my grandfathers. So I did have, I did have a couple of grandfathers that I was exposed to, but I would have liked to have known my grandpa Hudson, who I was actually named after. His name was simply Columbus Hudson. He didn't have a middle name, but everybody called him Joe. So my parents named me after him, even though that wasn't technically his name. Um, they named me Joseph after him. But I never met him. He died in the, um, I believe in 1966, so 5 years before I was born, right down here in Oklahoma City at the St. Anthony's Hospital. Um, what I was told was that he had had cancer, that he had actually beat the cancer, but somehow, and they attributed it at the time to a window in the hospital being left open, that he developed pneumonia and that the pneumonia killed him. I don't know whether that's true or not. Back in the 60s, I don't know how much they really knew about cancer. They may have thought he'd beaten it, but I don't know. It could have been pneumonia too. Who knows? I'm certainly not a doctor. But yeah, just hearing my old man talk about him and my uncles, and then also just from the way that my dad's life um, and the Huntington's disease and the way that it revealed itself, and I would have liked to have had some glimpse at my grandfather, some experience to where it's just so strange that I don't know if any of you know much about Huntington's disease, but it's if you have a parent that has it, and they test your DNA and it's just one strand of DNA. It's called a CAG, the CAG number, and if it reaches a certain level, then you are going to get that disease. There is a gray area, but then there's area below that where you definitely will not get the disease. But everybody who has a parent that has that disease has a 50% chance of having it themselves. My dad had 6 other siblings that lived to ripe old ages, and at least as far as I know, none of them have ever been diagnosed with it. Only him. All the other families that I have come in contact with that had experience with that disease, it just devastated the whole family. It didn't seem like it was a 50-50 proposition. It seemed like more like 70-30 that most of them had it. And that might have even seemed optimistic. It might have been worse than that. But, my dad had it, and it killed him in 2017. And my brother and I both were tested that same year. My brother right before, and me right after my dad passed. And neither one of us have it. So praise God, thank God for that. But um, like I said, just because of that, my dad's experience and really the trauma that took us through for those years, it's hard enough realizing that someone you love and look up to, and that this is happening to them, and that they're not going to be around. But then to actually experience with them the consequences of that disease as it took his dignity and joy, in little steps here and there. Anyway, like I said, that's one aspect. Another reason why I would have liked to have met his father. Just, I don't know, maybe it could have given us a glimpse if he had a little bit longer. Um, that this was coming from my dad. It just came so out of the blue. Nobody else in the family had it. So, anyway. Man. So, yeah, those really are cheap, Azrael. That $4 and $5, are you talking about on that Shopee? Yeah, I don't know what. But all those fakes that you're talking about, you're still talking about the Shopee, right? It was Huntington's disease. It's the same disease that killed Woody Guthrie, and most people who have it end up dying of um, either choking or it's it, it it affects it's not just there are physical aspects to it and mental aspects. They say it's like having um, ALS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's all at the same time. And from my experience with my old man, and what I've known of those others, I mean, it was uh, it was an adventure for sure, and not a fun one. Um, but it was, some of the most bizarre things. You know, his behavior, it was not normal. It was not that same man that I'd known. You know, that had always been there. He was, like I said, it steals their life and takes their dignity in so many ways. I was trying to screen capture so I know these sites you're talking about. Azrael. There we go. And I'm gonna have to start my feed over here again. There we go. Yeah, it's nasty, Azrael, and most people that have it have physical movements. That's the chorea part of it. Chorea. It's called Huntington's chorea, or at least that's the way you used to hear it described as. I became aware of the disease because I was a Bob Dylan fan, reading. I think it was it No Direction Home, book written by a man named, I think, Robert Shelton, or Sheldon, Robert Sheldon, biography on Bob Dylan. He talked about Dylan and his interaction with Woody Guthrie, and in there he talked about Woody Guthrie and his having this disease, and how he was at first in and out of mental institutions for a number of years, people thinking that he was mentally ill or um, drunk, and turns out he was misdiagnosed for many years before he was finally diagnosed correctly. But that was pretty much my only reference to the disease until 2010, I think it was. And my old man was, my mom had been taking him to the doctor for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe even longer than that. It wasn't like 15 years like I think Woody Guthrie was, but it wasn't a short period of time where she was seeing doctors, they were seeing doctors, and they were being told it was early onset dementia or uh, Alzheimer's, but nothing specifically about Huntington's disease, or even really seemed. That's the thing. It's pretty rare. It seems like a lot of doctors aren't even familiar with the basics of the disease. But yeah, when my old man got diagnosed there in 2010, then it kind of brought it home to me pretty quick, because that's one of the first things you learn is if you got a parent that has it, then you got a 50% chance of having it. And I've even seen lately, I talk a lot about Facebook lighter groups, but there are also other kind of Facebook groups, and there's a Facebook Huntington's disease support group. And saw in that group a while back, there was a post where it was on both sides of the family. And then there were people that commented in the comments where that had been the case in their family as well. Such a horrible disease to have on one side. I'm not a mathematician, but if it's 50% that you're going to have it, if you got one parent, then I think if you've got two parents, then that's going to put you at 75%, isn't it? Definitely takes the percentage up there quite a bit. Now somebody will point out my poor math. What are we talking about? You say, does anyone smoke? I do not smoke tobacco, Joseph. But I do smoke other things. I do have a medical marijuana card. And I did smoke. I smoked, well, I think I've talked about this in the past, at least in videos I have. But I smoked, probably the first cigarettes that I ever smoked were Marlboros. I remember for a time smoking Marlboro menthols. I smoked Camel filters, full flavored Camels. As far as I can remember, I think those were my last two brands: Camel filters, and Parliaments, full flavored Parliaments. But it's been so long since I smoked a cigarette. I mean, it's I'm still around it, and it's not horrible to be around, but man, I don't want it on my fingers. Um, I don't miss it at all. It's one of those habits that once you're clear of it, it's I really don't have a use for it. Yeah, all those diseases are horrible, Azrael. They really are. I've had several friends whose parents were affected by Alzheimer's disease, and yeah, it's really sad. What are you saying, oh damn, about, Joseph? And what does mine is Mevius mean? Oh yeah. Well, you know, Oklahoma has, I believe we still got the highest percentage. Last I heard, there was over 10% of the population of Oklahoma had a medical marijuana card, which was over double any other state. But they are doing some things to try to make it more difficult, and uh, we'll see. But I think the program here has been a really good thing. Oh, gotcha. Mevius is Japanese brand cigarettes. Gotcha. Cool. I had not ever heard of that one. You ever see an advertising lighter for Mevius cigarettes? Oh, okay, Azrael. So this site that you're buying from, this Shopee or whatever you said the other name, Tokopedia, these are sort of like eBay or Amazon. It's third party sellers. So you can't show any tobacco products there. Well, that's the way it is here now, but it didn't used to be. Yeah, I saw that pill case. So I think I saw that on eBay, Azrael. I'm sorry, you're talking to the other Joseph. Still here, Dylan. Where we at? Yeah, I seem to be able to get about 2 hours before phone will start giving me a warning that it's going to go dead. So does that mean you made it to lunchtime? I can remember many, many, many swing shifts and overnight shifts at the post office, getting through them and them not being quite so monotonous and boring by being able to listen to talk radio in my ears. And of course, music and whatever too. But even to the point that we used to have, uh, the little radio that would fit on your belt would have like a TV band to where you could hear the sound from the local TV stations. That's kind of funny. You guys talking about the pill case insert because Zippo actually made a pill case, but I think used the same. I think it's the same case as the magnifier. Might even be the same. I don't know. Maybe not. Is it the same as the uh, tape measure? That might be a different case. Yeah, it's kind of futuristic looking or industrial looking, the ones that I'd seen, Azrael. Yeah, there's some people that specialize in collecting those pill cases. I guess they were advertising models. Maybe that's the way most of them were done. Were advertising, or I've seen several with that RX symbol on them. But other than that, it seems like most of them were maybe ordered as advertising items. Yeah, I don't know why I thought before that. I guess because the bottom, but the bottom of the tape measures, is it plastic now too? Is it like a hard polymer like that? Anyway, definitely the pill case uh, and the magnifier. I think use the same case, but maybe the tape measure too. Any of the rest of you drinking coffee this morning? I brewed mine over at the apartment before I came over here, and I don't know what went wrong, but when I poured it in there, it didn't make as big a cup as I told the machine to. You got me wondering what I said now, Joseph. Oh, drinking the coffee. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I can ever remember coffee actually feeling like it woke me up or really even helped in that regard. But I've definitely had some times when I remember drinking a lot of caffeine and I was agitated in one way or another. One time I think I pretty much had a panic attack. Scary. Quit drinking. I quit caffeine, period, after that. Didn't drink coffee for a long, long time. And I still, like, even in a soda, I won't drink caffeine very often. But I do remember a few years ago when I still was one drinking a couple of glasses of Coke at a restaurant at lunch on a Sunday, and then trying to take a nap a couple hours later, and it was like it was all fidgety. But all those times that I was trying to stay awake at the post office when I was keying on the LSMs or um, the flat sorters, keying on the flat sorters, that was a whole other adventure. And again, not a fun one. Um, but man, it's hard to stay awake in the middle of the night when you can't sleep during the day when the sun's out, or things keep coming up. You get family things to attend to, or seem like even back then before cell phones, even though my whole family knew that I was sleeping during the day, somebody still managed to call every day. But I don't remember that coffee ever keeping me awake at work. I still fell asleep while I was keying, especially on the LSM. Those letter sorting machines it made it kind of scary to drive after that because it was so easy to fall asleep while you were working on that machine. I've definitely been addicted to nicotine, Joseph. I explained, I think I mentioned most of the cigarettes that I smoked in the past there a while ago. But what I didn't mention was at one point when I first quit smoking, I started dipping to try to quit smoking. And then ended up doing both to where I was dipping like a can of Copenhagen a day and smoking a half a pack of cigarettes a day, at least, because I was also a heavy drinker at the time. Um, but I was definitely more of a dipper than I was a smoker. But like I said, at least half a pack a day. And I did that for, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 years. And then finally quit smoking. And man, I didn't think I was ever going to quit dipping. That was a tough one, and I think it was all mental. Because when I ended up quitting, it wasn't, there were no major withdrawals or anything like that. It was pretty easy. Thank God. Yeah. Well, before I was dipping and smoking, I would use chewing tobacco here and there when I was a very young man, like late teens, early 20s. But I didn't really dip until later. Like I said, it was when I quit smoking in my mid to late 20s that I that I started dipping. But yeah, there were times in my life where I was a pack a day smoker. Probably for oh yeah, 10-year period of time or so. You wake up in the morning and you got that ache back in the back of your throat. Feels sort of like a sinus infection, and the only thing that's gonna make it feel better is that cigarette. And you smoke on an empty stomach. You can get a little bit of a buzz off of it, but it's one of the harder ones for me to understand. Even dipping. Um, Although, yeah, there's definitely a head buzz that went along with dipping when you first started with any kind of chewing tobacco. But cigarette smoke, so it's not like there's really much of an inebriating effect or anything like that, or or even like caffeine type, pick me up type effect. It's just kind of is what it is. It's just kind of a habit. Well, I just got the warning. So I mentioned Eastwa, and a couple of you said, yeah, you follow him, and Instagram, TikTok, whatever's the case. So make sure you get over there and follow him. Hopefully, he'll join us again soon. We may be kind of, we're just kind of up to the whim of people's schedules, especially if I'm not able to do it on Tuesday like, we have in the past. But today was a little bit later, just an hour. So, like I said, I'll try to do them on Tuesday if I can. But otherwise, just look for it at some point during the week, during the day, sometime between the hours of like 10 and 2, maybe, for the summer. And hopefully, I'll be able to get to publishing some more videos again soon as well. I've got that um, Zippo butane yellow flame insert on the way, so I'll do a review on that when I get it. We'll see a video soon for this newest park lighter and maybe some others that I need to kind of clean up and list. Not clean up like because they're dirty, but clean up sort of the scraps that have falling around the corners of the workshop here over the last, well, since I last listed much. This is a cool lighter. Maybe somebody collects automotive related or service station related, tires, wheels, whatever. Not brand new, and I'm probably just gonna, I'll probably fuel it again. I'll have to get pictures of it for the listing, but if it seems like that wick holds a flame okay, then I'll just leave it. But if you ever buy a lighter from me and you want me to go ahead and switch it out because you're planning on using it, then just let me know and I'll change the wick out before I send it to you. But I think most people would probably have it original, especially if it works okay that way. But I don't know, maybe not, because we have seen some, I think people genuinely have a little bit of concern about there being asbestos material in the wick. So anyway, it's easy enough to re-wick a lighter like this. That one does have a solid foam fuel cell in it. Anyway, the other guys that are usually here, Zippo Daily Fix, Naphtha, Sean, Gnarly News, who, like I said, we haven't seen in a long time, Big John, Professor of the Professor's Garage, and I'm not intending to forget anybody here. No, Joseph, I don't believe that Zippo still makes a table lighter. I think the last one was the Handy Light. And there's several different ones. There's the Modern, the Lady Bradford, the Barcroft. I think I'm still missing one or two. But anyway, there are a few different ones. But you see them go on eBay, and if you got, I think if you had $75 to spend, you could probably hope to, you know, if you're looking at them, you know, not buying it in a group of other lighters, but just finding a Barcroft lighter in decent shape, you know, with a nice graphic or clean or, you know, whatever. I think you got a chance at it, you know, as long as it's not just perfect and some great, you know, like Coca-Cola logo on it or something like that. You know, you might be able to get one for $75, $100 for sure. You see them go in that neighborhood, but you know, a little higher than that too sometimes. But I'd say right there, 75 to 135. If you had that as your budget, you could definitely buy one. You use regular cotton for the wick. What did you do? Just twist it up? Like separate the fibers and then twist them? We talked about this before with our friend Giovanni Abazia. And we haven't heard from Giovanni in a long time. But we did some experiments with pipe cleaners. And one of the pipe cleaners I thought was going to work, but it didn't. That sounded like an auctioneer there. I wish I could remember what I said now. Boy, that one was making me a liar on the 2 out of 5. Yeah. I'm kind of lost, Ezra. I remember I was talking about Giovanni and the wick, right? The pipe cleaners, or was it something else? So anyway, I was trying to remember. I'm sure I said Sean. Gnarly news that we haven't heard from in a while. Um, ZF77 Outdoors joined us, I don't know, maybe a month ago, maybe a couple of months ago on one of them. Hopefully he'll join us again. Um, but glad to have had Dylan with us today, and Azrael, Joseph. We had several new people here today, so I appreciate all you guys dropping in. Shaggy, who had been here before. Yeah, there were a couple other names, but as I'm going back here, they're not jumping out at me. Oh, I think that's because I exited the stream at one point because it had locked up on me. Anyway, appreciate you guys, and we will do it again next week. Um, try to do it Tuesday, but if not, we'll get it in sometime around the middle of the day. One day next week. So hopefully you can join us in. Until next time.